All right, so what I want to talk about in this video is who should not do a doctorate. So if you don't know me, I'm Professor Dave Massac. I'm Associate Professor of Innovation Strategy and Entrepreneurship. And I created this whole reciprocity project to give back as much as I possibly can. There are so many people that helped me out that I wanted to pay the favor for to help you out. So this is going to be really helpful. This video is going to be very, very helpful for those of you who are at the quote-unquote margin. What economists talk about at the margin, where you're just kind of deciding one way or the other, or thinking of actually doing a doctorate, doing a PhD, and you really need to sort of assess what you're trying to do. I want you to take a deep dive. I want to discourage you from doing a doctorate as much as I possibly can, because it is such a difficult journey and it is going to be very stressful for in your life. So if I can get you to decide not to do it because you're sort of doing it for reasons in which are not going to be helpful for you, it's going to be better off for everybody. You don't want to go into a career that is not going to be beneficial for who you are. I want you to choose a career. I want you to do something that you truly love and that you are passionate about, and it's going to be something that you want to do for the rest of your life. So if this is going to be helpful for you to choose a doctorate or to go into a certain career or whatever, by all means, continue to watch this video. It's going to be very helpful for you in terms of deciding what you should do with the rest of your life and what that actually looks like. So, by the way, if you hear any noises in the background, I got dogs, I got kiddos, I got all sorts of people all around because we're still doing the Corona thing. It's December 2020. It still feels like March 2020, and so people are running around still and stuff, and we've decided to stay at home and be responsible with that. So, anyways, with doing your doctorate, doing your PhD, do not do a PhD if you're trying to build up some sort of status or convince other people that you are good enough with who you are as an individual, as a person. You're already good enough. You have done a lot. You are an impressive person. You are really an amazing human being. You're remarkable in so many different ways. And a degree, a piece of paper, or an accomplishment is not going to solve that problem. You need to take a deep dive in why you're actually being motivated in that way to feel like you need to prove yourself to other people. I've felt like that. I still feel like that on a regular basis. I mean, it's just kind of being human, but at the same time, you have to take a deep dive into that feeling and sort of think about, why am I actually doing this thing? Is it to prove to somebody, or is it because I really want to do this thing? And it's something you have to really be consciously paying attention to and really focused on in terms of, what you want to do with the rest of your life. It is not going to, once you get this degree, I'm going to tell you this straight up, it changes nothing in terms of how you feel about yourself. It does not change. It's not going to. Who you are as an individual needs to be worked on more than actually getting this degree or this accomplishment. So you have to be ready to work by yourself for a long time. So if you're not ready to work by yourself for a long time and feel it's quite isolating, and to be honest, it's very, very isolating. So you have to be ready to be okay to work by yourself. And if you're not ready for that, if that's not in your DNA to work by yourself, it's going to be a bit of a journey. And it's a journey for those of us that are sort of motivated to push through that kind of stuff. But at the same time, I'm kind of more on the introverted side. I would say I'm definitely more introverted. So, even with all of those kind of things, it is a struggle. It's going to be very difficult for you to deal with those kind of things. And so you have to be okay with that and be totally fine with what you're trying to do. If you are not curious about the world, if you're not naturally curious and you're wondering and sort of talking to your friends about how things work and what happens, if you're not sort of pondering on a regular basis and dreaming up your own ideas, it's going to be hard for you to do this kind of stuff. So curiosity is going to be very important for you. I'm going to laugh when I watch these videos later on in life, because I know my kids are screaming in the background. It's just like par for the course. By the way, have you ever seen the video where the newspaper reporter or the, distinguished gentleman is doing an interview for the BBC, and then in comes this little, in comes his daughter, and then the nanny comes in. It cracks me up every time. So anyways, if you are not, that's my life. If you're not curious about the world, then, it's going to be tough in terms of dealing with this kind of stuff. If you want fame and fortune, if you're doing this for fame, or you want it to sort of build wealth. Now, some people are going to be able to sort of jump the social economic status. I would say I did, because of the degree I chose and stuff like that, in where I sort of started off in life, coming from, I'm absolutely proud of my background, amazing background, but neither of my parents went to high school, or completed high school. It's been a journey to go through this. I was first in my family to go to university, all those kind of things. It's been kind of tough. I had to sort of travel a long ways. It's not sort of a sob story, but, not a lot of people are going to be sort of jumping the socioeconomic status by doing this. And in fact, the best, I would highly recommend, if you're thinking of doing that in terms of just, earning an income, getting more money, do an MBA. It's going to be far better for you to do an MBA, and you can get out. It's quick, and you earn money. People, the market understands what you're trying to do and what you're all about. People don't understand what a doctorate is. They don't really get it, what you're trying to do. And so you're going to be much better off to do an MBA, hands down, pretty much all the time. If you're in a technical field, to do a master's in something that is technical, so it's going to help you out. But, in terms of the fame and all that kind of stuff, you're not going to get that until you're like 85 years old. And then people are going to sort of pay attention and say, oh, yeah, that person was right. It just does not happen that way. You don't get the rare person. It's such a rare phenomenon, that somebody becomes famous when they're young. It's just like you don't even pay attention to it. People do get famous, but they do get famous in other careers as well. All sorts of other careers. We just seem to sort of latch on to that because I think it's the first profession that people sort of recognize or see that in terms of when they're 19 years old and they see some famous professor or whatnot. That does happen, but you could be famous in any field. You could be, the most famous person that collects garbage. And there are people that do, the CEO of waste management, right? There's lots of people that do that kind of stuff. And so you just have to pay attention to it. There's the most famous hot dogs person that eats hot dogs. What is the guy's name? Jimmy Chan or Johnny? I forget. The guy who shoves hot dogs in his mouth is disgusting. But hey, if you're watching this, if you're, if you're that fellow, it's a career. It's a living. I'm not trying to run you down. But anyways, my point is you can get famous doing anything. So don't sort of use it as an excuse to do a doctorate, become famous and get wealthy and all that kind of stuff. That's far from what you're going to do. In fact, most careers or most people that get doctorates, they first of all, they probably make less money. I know they make less money for a very long time. You can watch some of my videos. And as well as the fame doesn't come to you as quickly as you think it's ever going to come. And so don't think about that. There's many sort of things that are going on behind the scenes. So, and this comes back to point number one that I was talking about. If you are trying to build status and convince others, you have to work on this sort of inner thing of what you're trying to do. Why is it actually driving you to do that particular thing, right? And then the last thing, the most important thing is you have to be very, very optimistic. And so if you're not optimistic, man, it's going to be a tough career for you because everything, you're going to get knocked down so many times. It is an absolutely negative career in so many different ways. And so you have to be okay with getting knocked down. For every one success, you get about 5 that are no's and knocked down. So imagine it's more of like sales. So you're selling ideas. There goes my kids. So if you got to be selling ideas. And so if you're sales, like a salesperson, and you're selling ideas, of course they get rejected. Of course they get no's, right? So if you're selling those ideas, you're going to get a lot of no's, just like a salesperson that goes door to door and selling ideas. you can get no's all the time. And so you have to come to terms with that. It's very entrepreneurial, where you're trying to actually do something and demonstrate to other people of what you're trying to do. So with that, that's all I'm going to do, and say, give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Sorry about all the craziness, and it's just par for the course, right? 2020. Yeah, if you watch this in 2050, 2020 was a fun year for all of us. It was called the year of the dumpster fire. Anyways, take care and have a wonderful day. Bye.